So let us go through the different human options. We've got the thing currently set up now with folks arriving at the rate of 38 per hour. Let's just review that. There it is, 38 per hour. And then service times are normal with a mean of 90 and a standard deviation of 20. So you can see that over here. And there's one server. Now, there are three other scenarios that are possible here if you don't change the number of servers. And changing the number of servers, adding a fourth barista or a fifth barista is, certainly something you could entertain and may be necessary, in fact, but that's for you to think about. If I were to change the number of baristas, keeping the total number of arrivals the same, what I could do is I could just, currently I have three streams of arrivals of 38. So that's 38 times 3 is 114. And if I had a fourth server serving that same number of customers, then I would just change this to 28.5. That let me just explain that logic if you were to go that route. So total arrivals is are 38 times 3 is 114. And if I were to have 4 servers, then on average they would each have to serve 28.5 as opposed to seeing 38 per hour, so serving 28.5 customers per hour. So I could just simply change this number here, this one here, and is not performing, which is circle 38 to 28.5. But let's look at the other options. If I were trained, then I'm going to get a reduction in the standard deviation. So all I would do there is just change this from 20 down to 10. That's the 50% reduction if the barista training is undertaken. Now, the setting where we have pooling is interesting, and I want to have a look at that. So I'm going to keep this with the original. I'm going to look at the pooling option in isolation. So what we're going to do there is we're going to have folks join a single line, and then they go to either of any of the three baristas, and then of course they exit. So what I'm doing here with the pooling option is enforcing a single waiting line, and so this can be modeled using an MG3 model, but the arrival rate is going to be, of course, the lumped Poisson arrival streams. So 38 times 3 is 114. And then the service time distribution remains the same. So to get this one modeled, all we need to do is to change the arrival rate. The service distribution remains the same because the servers are unchanged. It's just they're pooling their efforts. So now I'm getting arrivals at 114 per hour, and I need to put 3 servers into the pool because I'm lumping them all together. And I want to go into the calculator. So I have it previously running here. So everything remains the same, but I'm going to change this to 3 servers. So utilization remains the same at 95%. The average number of customers in the line is going to be 9.08. But interestingly, very interestingly, I'm dropping from about a quarter of an hour, or roughly 13 to 15 minutes, down to 0.0796. So that multiply that by 60, and you're looking at about 4.7 minutes. So that is a substantial improvement just from enforcing that single line for the orders. So let's see if that's going to play out. So I've set this up again, just made that 114 and made this a 3. And I want to run it and just see if we need any further debugging, because this is an untested scenario. All right, so it's running. Now in this particular one, the number of minutes that I can run is going to change. So it's going to be 50,000 customers, and then the number of minutes is let's see, 60 divided by 114, and that is approximately equal to, putting my calculator, 26,315 So I'm just going to say, let's just run it for 26,000 seconds. So to do that, we just use our little cog here, little gear, hit 26,000, and then hit enter so that it appears in red, so that's the real limit. And then let's just speed this one up just to make sure it's running nicely. It's our first shot running a server pool with 3. And you can see the utilizations creeping up. And the W sub Q seems to be settling. Well, it's going north of 6, now down back to 5. So it seems to be, going into that range around, 4, 7, 4, about 5. And it's bouncing around quite a bit because of, there's just discrete data that it's built off of. But it's certainly about 10 minutes shy of where we were with the not having the pooling in place. All right, so let's accelerate this to completion. So this first estimate is 95% utilization, which is a perfect agreement with what we had. Very close, 9.465 to the theory. Let's just go back. Theory says it should be 908 on the average number of customers in the line. And then this time 645 is, the theory says it should be about 4.7. So I'll do one more run with this, and then just to see how it looks with one more run. Just change this to a different seed. Change that to the 3rd seed there, and then rerun it again. So 26,000 seconds, right? Hit enter and then hit go. And you can see how many customers actually were generated ultimately. So we generated, not exactly 50,000, but close to it. And again, we're getting about 6 minutes. So our time estimates are a little high, but that's how it goes. And 95.1% utilization and 9.354. So the L sub Q value is actually pretty close. It's just that this was a little bit higher. Right, and I'll realize that the queuing analysis is an approximation. So this actually, if you did do a number of simulation runs and you averaged it, it would be a better look than the queuing result, because Kingman's formula is a heuristic. Right, and then so the last human scenario to get both the pooling and the training assessed would be just to simply go into the make coffee time distribution and make it 10 rather than 20, and there you have assessed pooling with the training. Okay, so that's the 3 human, the current setup, the pooling setup. We could do the training by just changing that 20 down to 10 from the original, and then the joint change is where what I've got with the current setup with the 3 baristas and the arrival rate of 114, and then also changing the standard deviation down to 10. And you'd need multiple runs of each of these scenarios to build decent evidence.